Live na dam. Live na.
So, good morning everyone. We are again present here today for a pre-bid conference for procurement of civil works under invitation to bid number 2024-028 for one project. So we are live via YouTube in compliance to Department Order Number 6 Series of 2024 for transparency of procurement processes. So before we proceed, may I request the Secretariat to acknowledge those who are present.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Acknowledging the presence of the attendees for today's procurement activity, which is the pre-bid conference for civil works, this October 3, 2024. We have here our bank chairperson, Madam Catherine M. Sangria. Our bank members, Engineer Carlo Antonio T. Guzman, and Engineer John Jeffrey D. Marcos. From Bank Secretariat, headed by Engineer Maria Shelby S. Upia. Present. Together with Ma'am Lucena M. Garma. From Bank DPWH, Engineer Abraham T. Tuna Jr. From Planning and Design Section, Engineer Gisaniel N. Alera.
Delete.
Have a break and we will go to
Sa live.
Live na?
Ako lang dito na ano ko din sa inyo ani. Once.
Nagano yung team mo, wala na yung camera. Kasi ikaw
Kami
din
na din nasa camera si. Hindi mo.
Balik mo sa
Hindi mo. Magkuha na gud ta.
camera lang.
Testing na gud ta. Makakuha ba? Mag-testing ta ba? Private lang. Sige. I-delete na na. Ang camera lang. Sige daw, i-kuha daw.
Kung ano yung board, no, i-ex no, kanang yung board. So, kasi siguro, effective. Kasi siya, ito kang
Nagya, di kanang daw sa.
Ongoing siya.
Ongoing siya? Ani di, mo going ini ba? Mas is ni diri. Pero dia sa live daw. Na. Ikuan daw. Ono raw. Pasar mo lagi.
Padayon na.
Sige mo. Ini ta. Ha? Tingnan ta. Ah. Tanaw daw sa live daw. Bihid ba pud.
Continue siya.
Continue sir.
Continue na lang ta.
Ito ha.
So, to start with,
Wala. Makapid daw na
we have a preset of agenda for this activity. We have the presentation and explanation. Under this, we have the basic contract data, the requirements of bidding documents, documents to be submitted by the bidders, the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, and the three-strike policy against violation. So and second is the question, comments, and from leaders and replies of WAC. Then last agenda is the summary of proceedings. So before we go on, we will ask the body for the adoption of this agenda?
I move for the adoption of the present agenda.
I second the motion.
So it has been moved by Engineer Guzman and seconded by Engineer Marcos. No objection. The motion to adopt this agenda is hereby approved. So first in the order of business is the brief presentation. So under this, we have the basic contract data, including contract description, DPC, and duration, to be explained by from our planning and design section, Engineer Valeria. Ahead, ma'am.
Exactly.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the chairwoman and the members of this committee. Name of contract, concreting of road from Nuevo Iloco-Mahayag, Mawab, Davao de Oro. Contract ID number 24LA0131. Location, Mawab, Davao de Oro. Scope of works, concreting with a width of 6.10 meters with a thickness of 230 millimeters, starting from station 1 plus 765.2 to station 5 plus 606.245 with a total length of 3,802.245 meters. With exception, an existing bridge station 3 plus 200.2 to station 3 plus 239, roadway excavation, surplus common excavation, surplus rock excavation, soft, intermittent concrete pave shoulder, construction of concrete canal lining, and other minor drainage structures, construction of gluted riprap of slope protection, and application of reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings. Approved budget for the contract is 89,550,000 pesos. Source of fund, FY 2024 Pamana. Contract duration, 338 calendar days. Size range, medium A. License category, B. Cost of bid documents is 50,000 pesos. And this is the location map for the project. The beginning of the project is station 1 plus 765.2, and at the end of the project is station 5 plus 606.245. Next. Here is the location map of the project, where you can see it is near at the barangay hall of Nuevo Iloco, Mawab, Davao de Oro, and near at the barangay hall of Maynila, Bunturan. Next. This is the typical details for the project. Typical normal crown section showing proposed roadway with common soil embankment, and typical Super E section showing proposed roadway with common soil excavation and embankment. Next. Another typical details, typical normal crown section showing proposed roadway with common soil excavation. Next. Another typical details, we have the gravel shoulder, broken center line, concrete shoulder, no passing zone center line. Next. And another typical detail, we have typical normal crown section showing proposed roadway with common soil excavation and rooted riprap, counterfort retaining wall. Next. Typical normal crown section showing proposed roadway with common soil excavation and rooted riprap, slope protection structure at left side. Typical normal crown section showing proposed roadway with soft rock excavation. Next. Here we have the geotag photos for the project. Starting of the project, we have, this is the beginning of the project. Then next, this is the middle section of the project. Next, and another middle section of the project. Next, and this is the end of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So that's the detailed explanation of the project to be procured. Next in the order of our agenda is the requirements of bidding documents, including instruction to bidders, general condition of contract, special condition of contract, specification, drawings, bill of quantities and forms. Then another is the documents to be presented, the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, and the street strike policy, which will be viewed via audio visual presentation.
Requirements of bidding documents. All documents required, including the instructions to bidders, the general conditions of contract, special condition of contract, specifications, drawings, bill of quantities, and forms, such as bid securities, are all uploaded to PhilJEP's website and our website at the DPWH. A complete set of bidding documents may be acquired by interested bidders from the procurement unit at the DPWH Davao de Oro 1st DEO Navantaran Davao de Oro, and upon payment of the applicable fee for the bidding documents. It may also be downloaded free of charge from the website of the Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System, PhilJEPS, and the website of the procuring entity, provided that bidders shall pay the applicable fee for the bidding documents not later than the submission of their bids. Documents to be submitted by the bidder. The following documents should be included by the interested bidders in their bids. For the technical component of the bid, A. Eligibility documents such as PhilJEP's certificate. B. PCAD license and registration. C. Statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, SLCC only. NFCC computation and statement of total assets and total liabilities. D. Joint venture agreement, if applicable. E. Technical documents such as bid security, project requirements such as the organizational chart for the contract, list of contractors' personnel, list of major equipment, and omnibus statement, which is 10 items. For financial component of the bid, A. Bid form. B. Bid prices and the bill of quantities. C. Detailed estimates, including a summary sheet indicating unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals. D. Cash flow by quarter. These documents should be submitted using to envelope system. Bidders are urged to only fasten the documents at the topmost portion instead of binding them. Each document should be ear tagged appropriately. There shall be 3 copies of documents: the original copy, copy 1, and copy 2. The original copies of technical component of the bid shall be sealed in one envelope, and the original copies of financial component of the bid shall be sealed in another envelope. These envelopes should be labeled as original copy of technical component and original copy of financial component respectively. These labeled envelopes shall be sealed into one envelope and label it as the original copy of the bid. The same procedure applies to copy 1 and copy 2. Lastly, the original copy, copy 1 and copy 2 of the bid shall be sealed into one final envelope to be submitted here in conference room, 2nd floor, DPWH, 1st District Engineering Office, Navantaran Davao de Oro. Bids can also be submitted electronically through electronicbeads_Compostela Valley at dpwh.gov.ph.
Please be reminded, key personnel. There should be no overlapping or no dual functions, especially in project manager, project engineer, materials engineer, and foreman. Tax identification number, TIN, should be indicated in your bid documents. It will be needed during the award of contract. Financial documents should be written legibly. Discrepancies of bid prices between figures and in words will prevail. For discount offers, methodology shall be indicated. Otherwise, the original bid amount will prevail. Bids not addressing or providing all the required items in the bidding documents, especially in the bill of quantities, the bid will be considered as non-responsive. Always check your documents before submitting to avoid disqualification. All bidders should update their PhilJEP's contractor's profile application as mandated and in accordance to Section 8.5.2 of 2016 IRR of RA 9184 and the GPPB Resolution Number 15 to 2021. In addition to our bidding documents, bidders are required to include in their technical documents the affidavit of site inspection with proof of evidence of actual visit of the area. This is to avoid problems during the implementation of the project, as per BAC Resolution Number 071 Series of 2023.
Criteria and procedure for eligibility check. Criteria and procedure for eligibility check that are set forth in Section 23 of the revised implementing rules and regulations of RA 9184. All prospective bidders should have updated their class of documents. These documents were already discussed by the Secretariat. During the opening of bids, the BAC will check the eligibility result of contractor's profile application from Procurement Service of Central Office and simultaneously conduct the eligibility check and preliminary examination of the technical components of the bids. Bidders who are found eligible and the same time pass the preliminary examination of their technical proposal and financial proposal, the committee will read the bid amount stated in the bid form.
Three-strike policy, introduction and policy objective. In order to establish a fair and transparent system for managing offenses committed by bidders in the procurement of infrastructure, goods, and consulting services projects through public bidding, the Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, hereby introduces an updated three-strike policy. This policy is aimed at enforcing adherence to the procurement guidelines stipulated under Section 69.1.I of the 2016 revised implementing rules and regulations, R of Republic Act, or AE 9184. Under this policy, if a bidder commits three offenses or acts described as all other acts that tend to defeat the purpose of competitive bidding, they shall be subjected to an administrative penalty. These offenses, acts are further classified into three major categories, as enumerated below.
Classification of offenses that triggers the three-strike policy and exceptions. 1. Withdrawal from the bidding process, submission of a non-participation letter, or failure to submit a bid after purchasing the bid documents. However, the Bids and Awards Committee BAC recognizes certain valid reasons for these actions. A. If upon computation prior to bid submission, the bidder determines that their proposed bid price will exceed the approved budget for the contract ABC. To substantiate this, the bidder must provide evidence. Acceptable proof includes, but is not limited to, a detailed budget estimation or a market price report. B, if the bidder, after reviewing the bidding documents and evaluating the available market options, determines that the required goods or supplies either are not available, or that the available alternatives do not meet the specified technical specifications. Additionally, if providing the specified goods or supplies would require the bidder to incur costs exceeding the competitive and financially viable range, or if adherence to the specifications would lead to a bid price that is not economically favorable, the bidder may withdraw. To validate this reason, the bidder should present an affidavit demonstrating that participating in the bid under these conditions would be financially unsustainable. 2. Submission of late bids without valid reasons as determined by the BAC. Exceptions will be considered under extraordinary circumstances, such as force majeure. This refers to unexpected and unavoidable external events that impede or prevent a bidder from timely bid submission, as defined in Article 1174 of the Philippine Civil Code. 3. Submission of patently insufficient bid. A patently insufficient bid here refers to a bid that fails to include or comply with certain mandatory requirements. The determination of whether a bidder committed such an offense may occur as outlined below. A. During eligibility screening and/or shortlisting. I. Submission of an expired certificate of Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System, PhilGPS, registration, platinum membership. Or a certificate of PhilGPS certification containing expired Class A legal and financial documents as determined during the eligibility screening. Failure to include certificate of employment, contract agreement among permanent personnel and staff of the firm, and curriculum vitae in the application for eligibility and shortlisting, AES, which are evaluated during the shortlisting for consulting services projects. B. During bid evaluation, failure to submit required bid forms, as outlined in Annex C detailing the complete list of required bid forms. 2. Submission of incomplete, insufficient, or defective documents due to the non-inclusion and/or omission of mandatory provisions and statements for the required bid forms, as per Annex C outlining the mandatory provisions of required forms. 3. Submission of an unnotarized bid securing declaration, an omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement or statements from all the potential joint venture partners, with the exception during the declaration of state of calamity. Or implementation of community quarantine or similar restrictions declared or being implemented either in the locality of the procuring entity, PE, or of the bidder. For submission of the bid form, price schedules, bid securing declaration, omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement, JVA, without the name, legal capacity, and signature of the bidder or its authorized representative. 5. Nomination of key personnel of a profession different from what is required by the bidding documents, or, in the case of consulting services, proposing a key personnel whose educational background is different from that required by the TOR. 6. Failure to submit proof of ownership, lease, or purchase agreement of pledged equipment. 7. Failure to submit the required certification of key personnel as per Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012, or, in the case of consulting services projects, failure to submit certifications as required by the Terms of Reference, TOR. 8. Failure to comply with the required minimum number of key personnel and equipment as stated in the bidding documents.
C. During post-qualification. 1. Participation in bidding for consulting services or goods and services contracts by a bidder whose business type category, as indicated on the mayor's permit, does not match or are unrelated to the contract being bid for, as determined during the post-qualification process. 2. Participation for infrastructure projects by a bidder whose allowable range of contract costs, RCC, as indicated on the CAB license, does not match with the specific requirements of the infrastructure project being bid for in terms of category, classifications, and size range. Enforcement and penalties. If a bidder commits any of the 3 major offenses or acts listed above 3 times within a year starting from the approval date of the resolution recommending the imposition of strike 1, first warning, which is counted as day 1 through day 365, and if these 3 offenses are similar or identical nature, it will trigger the enforcement of the stipulated administrative penalty, suspension from participating in all DPWH procurement activities, and entering into contract with any DPWH procuring entity. Subsequently, as per the procedure outlined in Annex A, this may result in the blacklisting of the suspended bidder, thereby disqualifying the bidder from participating in any government procurement activities for a period of 1 year. In conjunction with blacklisting, the bidder will also face bid security forfeiture and must comply with the enforcement of the bid securing declarations condition. In more severe instances, when the bidder commits another set of 3 similar offenses, or more than 2 sets of 3 similar offenses instances, where more than 6 similar offenses occur within the said 1-year time frame, the bidder may be subjected to an increased penalty, resulting in blacklisting for a period of 2 years. The effectuation for the penalty of either 1 or 2 years, as applicable, will be clearly stipulated in the blacklisting order, with the provision that the duration of blacklisting shall not exceed a maximum period of 2 years, commencing on the date the blacklisting order is approved and issued by the Secretary. In enforcing these penalties, the DPWH emphasizes the need for a clear and fair procedure. When an offense leading to a strike is identified, the erring bidder will be promptly notified by the Bids and Awards Committee, backed, and given a chance to explain their actions before any final decision is made. This procedure helps ensure a well-informed and fair judgment. Furthermore, if it was suspended due to 3 strikes, they have the right to file a request for reconsideration as per the procedure in Annex I. This gives the suspended bidder a formal way to challenge the suspension, showcasing the department's commitment to due process in enforcing the 3-strike policy. 4. Due process and implementation to ensure that due process is upheld across all stages of procurement, from eligibility screening and shortlisting to bid evaluation and post-qualification. It is essential for the BAC and its technical working group, TWG, to meticulously verify the monthly consolidated strike report's updated version at each stage of the procurement process. All BACs are tasked with actively monitoring these updates to accurately track the infractions committed by bidders. Notably, even if a bidder has accumulated 3 strikes, this alone shall not be grounds for ineligibility, disqualification, or post-qualification until the suspension order is approved by the Secretary and officially posted on DPWH website. Moreover, if a suspended bidder has filed a request for reconsideration, the awarding of the contract may be deferred until such request is resolved. This approach ensures the integrity and coherence of our procurement system, reflecting our dedication to a transparent and fair process for all participants. Failure of the concerned DPWH personnel to implement the provisions of this order shall, after due process, make them liable to the penalties prescribed for violation of reasonable office rules and regulation in Rule 10. Administrative offenses and penalties of the 2017 Rules on Administrativeness in the Civil Service dated the 3rd of July 2017. This order shall take effect immediately and shall supersede Department Order Number 17, Series of 2015, Department Order Number 35, Series of 2008, and all other issuances that are inconsistent with this order.
Additional information. Only accredited contractors and consultants project engineer shall assign to handle the project in compliance to Department Order DEO 118, Series of 2024. Guidelines on the accreditation and assignment of contractors and consultants project engineers.
All the requirements or the required documents and the instructions to bidders are very well explained through our via audiovisual presentation. So these bidders, be reminded for those presented instructions by this qualification. So we'll go to the next set of agenda. The question, comments from the bidders, and replies of BAC and other representative of the procurement entity. So there's none. So we will go to the last agenda, which is the summary of proceedings, including supplemental bid bulletin to be issued, will be discussed by our procurement head, Engineer.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. All agenda for the pre-bid conference are well explained and discussed by the Secretariat and also the planning engineer. Prospective bidders are advised to visit anytime the field reps and DPWH websites for any issued supplemental bid bulletin. And also, dropping of bids will be on October 15, 2024 at 10 a.m. and will be open after all bids have been received and recorded. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. So, last agenda is open. pleasure of the body. If there is no questions, any member of the
I move for the adjournment of this meeting.
I second.
has been moved and seconded that this pre-bid conference and with no objection. This pre-bid conference is now adjourned.